fellow Toastmasters and guests. This is my chance to give a revision to my icebreaker. My name is Richard Soderholm. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois, born and raised there. When I was in high school, in the late 1940s, the draft board was breathing down our necks, and almost all the boys were either in the National Guard or the Naval Reserve. And I enlisted in the Naval Reserve, and we met weekly down in the city. And while there, I found out they had a process. We enlisted could apply for the Naval Academy in Annapolis, and I did, and I was successful. And a year and a half later, I was entering Annapolis, Maryland, 30 miles from Washington, D.C. And 1 week later, the Korean War started. If you want to place things and start counting dates. I had a 4-year successful time in the Naval Academy. I did well academically and graduated and commissioned. 1/3 of my class went in the Air Force because there was no Air Force Academy in those days. I'd never been west, so I asked for a ship in San Diego and received it, assigned to a destroyer there. Drove cross country. This is before any freeways. You left Chicago and it was 2-lane roads all the way to California. Drove with a friend who went the same place. And I was on the ship for 2 years. In those days, Pacific Fleet, we spent 6 months every year deployed. So it went to a lot of Asian cities I'd never heard of or just seen on the map. During that time at home, my fiance came out from back east and we were married at Treasure Island. We are observing our 59th wedding anniversary in a few weeks. We have 2 grown children, 4 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. After our time in San Diego, I applied for submarine duty, and was selected, went back to the submarine base in New London, Connecticut. And 6-month course there, successful, and applied and accepted the submarine back in San Diego. Like San Diego, submarine duty is much different than destroyer duty. You're isolated all the time. You did a lot of mostly secret things during the Cold War, plus there's a very demanding qualification program to learn all the systems and equipment, but did it successfully. Served on 2 submarines in San Diego, and applied for nuclear power training. That was the next logical step. It was a little harder. Had an interview successful with Admiral Rickover, and then went back to nuclear power school back in New London, Connecticut. And spent a year back there in training, partly in New London, partly upstate New York at General Electric. And they sent me back to Vallejo, California. They opened a new nuclear power school and I was an instructor. I taught nuclear power theory to the sailors for a year. Then I served in 3 nuclear submarines. One was being built in Mare Island. It was one of the new Thresher class, fastest, steepest, latest. We finished it, did all the trials and testing, and took it out to Pearl Harbor. And at that time, I was reassigned to as chief engineer on a Polaris submarine out of New London, Connecticut. Actually, the boat was in Holy Lot, but their families lived in Connecticut. My wife drove across country with 2 children and found a place to live while I was still in Hawaii. Flew across, saw where I lived, flew on to Holy Loch, Scotland, picked up the boat. We had 2 crews, we exchanged back and forth, so it was a long commute every few months. It was a good assignment, it was successful. After that, I was assigned as a squadron engineer, which was in New London, Connecticut. A real dream job, because I liked it very much. While there, I applied for a Navy area called engineering duty only, because that's been my experience. And after a year, I was selected. I went to Washington, D.C. During that time, we also did a year in South Carolina. Another submarine, the time in Boulevard. Washington, D.C., I went to George Washington University, earned my MBA in engineering management, had several assignments in new ships, mostly in machinery R&D, development, and new hydromechanics. And after that, we came back to Vallejo, California. I was at the shipyard there as assistant repair superintendent, and did 4 years there as trials director and assistant repair superintendent. And I retired from the Navy. I've been in over 20 years. I have a good background in nuclear power. The nuclear power industry commercially was going great guns at that time and had a lot of job offers. And took a job in Philadelphia, worked there for a year, didn't like it that well, and came back and had an offer from Bechtel, San Francisco. So, worked there quite a few years, a design engineer, went to job sites as resident engineering supervisor, but so from Pennsylvania, down in Georgia. They asked me to go to a job in South Korea. And it had unique characteristics, and I went to that. A very long, hard job, 6 to 8 weeks. Construction camp out in the rice paddies. My wife played a lot of bridge. Came back to San Francisco, back working on design jobs there, and had an offer from South Korea. They asked me by name to come back to Seoul as advisor. So we had 3 years in Seoul, Korea. Enjoyed it very much. And that job finished up and came back another year in San Francisco, and Bechtel closed down their power office. And I retired a second time. I retired a number of years, enjoyed it. During that time, I served several volunteer assignments on the county civil grand jury. Highly recommend it for anybody who's recently retired. It's mostly retired people, usually better educated. You have a chance to make some differences, but you'll never get publicized a secret. But I enjoyed it. I recommend it if you can make the time. I'm involved with the American Nuclear Society in town. I'm involved with several historic rail groups. The steam locomotive was our high tech for mechanical engineers for some time, so we play around with those. I do docent assignments down in Submarine Museum once or twice a month, usually on Sundays. Somebody wants to go, let me know, I'll tell you when I'll be there, and I'll give you a personal tour. Otherwise, I enjoy our retirement. And that's my introduction to myself. Thank you.